ladies and gentlemen, to the International Police Association radio show. I'm your host, Les Bedrogi, and I'm with IPA, Canada Region number 2. Our guest today is Shuaib Adam. He's a former Kenyan police officer, and he has come to Canada and is going to explain to us about his experiences and his police background and how the IPA in Kenya works and what sort of events they have. Shuaib, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Les.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, a quick one. I'm a retired police officer, served for about 25 years with the Kenyan Police, and I also was the regional security officer for JICA, which is Japan International Cooperation Agency's Kenya office. JICA is a governmental organization funded by Japanese taxpayers, providing technical assistance and collaboration to developing countries all over the world. So JICA's operations include education, health, disaster management, governance, peace building, and security, and quite a few things. They also have a program for JOCVs, which is Japanese Overseas Volunteer Corporation of Volunteers. And those are young people that come out of university and go to developing countries where they get an experience of working with the communities and teaching them their specialization of whatever they studied in university. So coming to what is the IPA about? The International Police Association is an independent body made up of members of the police service, whether on active duty or retired, and without distinction as to rank, sex, race, color, language, or religion. Its purpose is to create bonds of friendship and to promote international cooperation. It was founded by Arthur Tripp, a British sergeant, on 1st January 1950. It's the world's largest police organization with over 450,000 members and with an affiliation of 66 countries, still growing. And those countries are called IPA sections. It's a channel for friendship and international cooperation amongst police officers. Are you still there, Les?
I'm still here. Now, just before you go further, I know it's been 450,000 members in affiliated countries. And how is your in Kenya? How is your involvement? Like, how many people do you have roughly in Kenya belonging to the IPA?
Okay, it's a long story about the IPA Kenya. Currently, we have about over 250 members. At one stage, we had 2,600 members. So you'd wonder what went wrong there. So like I said, we've got a long history about IPA Kenya. To start off with, I was the Secretary General of the IPA Kenya section. As of last month, they had elections, and obviously I'm here in Canada, and I decided to give the opportunity to somebody else, a much younger guy, who was my Assistant Secretary General at the IPA Kenya. So they had elections, and I was very happy that he was able to step in. Anyway, talking about International Police Association Kenya section, it was affiliated in 1961. I think it was 1st of September in Stuttgart, Germany. And we've been there since 1961. But, Les, you'd be surprised. How did I become an IPA member?
You were bored.
I'm telling you, it was strange. I mean, I was traveling to the UK. I was in London, and I was with a friend of mine who was with the Metropolitan Police, and we were in the subway, and he was had a card with him, and he asked me, "Are you an IPA member?" And I said, "What's that?" And he says, "International Police Association." And I said, "Never heard of it." And he says, "Well, if you're an IPA member, you could get a free ride on the subway." And I was like, "Whoa!" And this was back in 1981. And I said, "Well, how do I become a member?" He says, "Well, I've been looking up because I know you're coming from Kenya, so you've got a section there." And I said, "Really? I've got a section back home, and you know about it, and I don't know about it." He says, "I'm telling you." And I said, "Okay." sounds interesting. So when I got back home, the first thing I did was go to the police headquarters and look up IPA Kenya.
Right.
And I was able to see the deputy commissioner. At the time, we have the commissioner and deputy commissioner, and there was second in command.
Right.
And he said, yeah, we have an IPA, and you can sign up and whatever. And I did. And there wasn't much to it. I mean, there wasn't much information about it. It was just like, sign up, you're a member, you paid a little bit of money. It wasn't much at the time. It was only ridiculously cheap. And I signed up and I had picture taken and some things done, and then I was a member. And since then, I'd been wanting to know more about IPA and how I could get involved and things of that sort. So I learned that in Kenya, it seemed that it was only the elite that could become members of IPA as such. And it was just like the very senior, the top brass that were running the organization, and a lot of the officers down on the ground weren't really participating much into it. And at one stage, what they did was they said every officer that joins the police, every person that's recruited and joins the police, he's automatically deducted an amount from pay slip to the IPA.
Wow.
And that's how, in my opinion, is how they got such a large number of members. And what they did was every time they deducted somebody, it was added on to the roll call or the, to the register. And they had so many members. And it was only a few years back when I'd taken over as the IPA member, as a Secretary General. And I looked into the membership and I said, well, some of these members have never had, they never made contact. We don't even know where they are, and try to get hold of them. And I found out that, a lot of them were not members anymore. They never renewed their membership and things of that sort.
Well, Shuaib, if you don't know information about the organization, it's an automatic deduction. And if nobody tells you anything about it, then why would you even think about becoming a member? So just leave it.
Yeah. So it's so that was a trouble, and a lot of officers knew about this thing, and they were like, well, I don't want to belong to an organization that automatically deducts my pay, and I don't see any benefits of it. So over the years, it went among officers that, you don't, they didn't like IPA, for instance. They were like against it. Why am I being deducted? And because you're in the police service and you know how the police works, it's some things that you don't even question. You just follow, the command orders. So they had this inner feeling inside them that they didn't want to do anything with IPA. And it was only after a decade or so that I got into the executive position of IPA, and I was able to discuss matters with the deputy commissioner then and other officials, and we said, we need to change this image of IPA Kenya. And fortunately, we started off very well. We started explaining what IPA is all about. We renewed people's membership. And the numbers came in. We had something like almost 1,000 again, and more. And we were like, doing IP activities. We would have annual dinners with dinner and dance, and it would be an opportunity for officers to get together, as well as members of the public who would support the dinner with their contributions and things of that sort. So it turns out to be, pretty active. And going pretty well.
Well,
and then somewhere,
half of the battle in the IPA is people not knowing what it's really about, what it actually can provide for you, the benefits, the friendship, the camaraderie, the events that we, as you know, we have in Region 2, like the handgun shoot, the Christmas dinners, the barbecue that's just coming up, stuff like that helps bring people in law enforcement, not just police officers, but other people in law enforcement together to share their experiences and talk to somebody that they relate to in their own field.
Exactly. And this is what is missing, what was missing in IPA Kenya. And the things actually seem to be taking off, and things were pretty well. But then somewhere along the line, we had some misunderstanding between our our president of IPA and the commissioner of police for some other reasons, nothing to do really with IPA. And because the commissioner of police was our patron, and he was supporting, the previous commissioners were supporting the IPA, and that's why we were surviving. And then, unfortunately, that particular commissioner was not in favor of IPA anymore, and he actually stopped us from meeting and stopped us from having any activities. Oh. And you can imagine now, you've got serving and retired police officers who are members of IPA, yet our top of our command says you cannot be members of IPA, or he doesn't want to know about IPA. So a lot of serving officers were afraid to continue to meet for IPA and things. But for us, for the others who were retired officers, they could continue, they carried on. And we just had a handful of officers, and we were trying to keep IPA
keep it going.
Yeah, keep it going and survive. And it took us years.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest today is Shuaib Adam. He's a retired police officer after 25 years in the Kenyan Police Services. He was also Secretary General of the IPA Kenya section until April of this year, 2018. Shuaib, welcome. We left off, unfortunately, a bit quickly, and we were talking about the upper echelon of Kenya's police department now turning their back against the IPA as such, which I'm sure is only a temporary problem. As I'm sure if you have 200 and some odd members now, I'm sure that'll increase once the knowledge and the benefits of IPA get out to the regular members. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Anywhere you want to start, I'm cool with that.
Okay, hi, Les, that's great. Yeah, so just a quick one. So basically, we had a lot of ups and downs in IPA Kenya, and the Commissioner of Police wasn't that cooperative with IPA, and so there was a lot of inactivity of IPA for several years, or decades actually. And then fortunately we got a new commissioners, and they started understanding what IPA was all about. And then, we would get a little bit of support now and then. We want to send officers for IPA meetings and all that. So they would sort of like say, okay, we give you the clearance. And slowly, the cooperation became much better. And then we had the Inspector General, who is currently the Inspector General of the National Police Service of Kenya, is Mr. Joseph Boynet. And he personally took interest in IPA. I had a long discussion with him about it, with our president, Alfred Osur, and the other committee members. And we explained exactly what IPA is all about, and that we were supplementary to the National Police Service in their mandate. And he liked the idea, and he thought all police officers should have an organization that belongs to them, which was what IPA is all about. It's the world's largest police organization. It's a police family. So that was the change for us, and he gave us an office, and he gave us everything that we needed to get IPA off the ground. And that's why I said we were almost to zero. And within the last year or two, we've had over 200 members, 250, and the numbers are growing, and hopefully we'll be back to much more than 2,600 that we were originally.
It's basically getting out the communication to the membership or to the police officers or the law enforcement officers to let them know what it's about, what they can do, and what the benefits of it. And what do you think the benefits of it are?
It's got so many benefits, Les. I don't know where to start. I mean, personally, for my own look at it, my own outlook, I have benefited tremendously from IPA, especially for my job. Like I told you, I was the RSO for JICA. That meant I was in charge of all the countries that JICA had offices in Africa, and I would coordinate security operations in those countries. So it required me to go to those countries, and because of security, I would have to meet law enforcement officers there. And one of the things I did was talk to them about IPA and be like an ambassador for IPA. And I recruited, foreign associate members, and we had them from Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania, and all these surrounding countries from Kenya. And the whole idea was to spread the word of IPA, and the officers could see that this was something that would be of benefit. I mean, like I said, I personally benefited because I was able to break the ice with the local law enforcement that I visited. And immediately, they have a fellow officer coming over and discussing security. They were much more at ease to give me the situation of what's on the ground and discuss sensitive matters, which was in turn helping me to keep the Japanese, the people that I was looking after, safe. And give them proper advice and tell them how to take care of things.
Well, I find that if you once they know that you're any country, once they know that you're a former police officer or law enforcement officer, the treatment is totally different. I remember when I was in Hungary, for example, and again, it's one of those things that's not really advertised out to regular guys. And I've talked to a few of them and got them involved in the IPA over there. And I think communication between the police department and the IPA members, there seemed to be a lack of knowledge on the department's part about thinking that it's only a retirement home, basically, for ex-law enforcement officers. Well, we do have a lot of members that are still on the police departments or law enforcement groups. And I think that once the word gets out that it's open to basically serving or retired law enforcement or similar activity, auxiliary police, for example, that once that gets around, then membership will grow. And I find that it's really interesting to have not only the people that have served as law enforcement officers, but their wives, their children, their grandchildren involved in the different programs that the IPA offers. And I know it takes a while to get the information. You almost have to drag it out of the IPA head offices of what they can actually provide benefits of. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is, I'll give you an example of what happened sometime back in Kenya. We had an IPA member from Italy whose father was, visiting Kenya as a tourist, staying in Malindi, one of the coastal towns of Kenya, beautiful place. And his father and mother were out there enjoying their holiday. And then, unfortunately, the father suffered a heart attack and he died. And his wife couldn't speak English. And obviously, she communicated with her son in Italy and told him, look, I don't know what to do. Your father's dead and whatever. And immediately he called an IPA. He called us at the IPA. I remember it was kind of like middle of the night or something, and I got a call and I told him, okay, give us the details, let us know the name and everything. And immediately we had our IPA members down in the coast region go over there, do whatever was necessary, comfort the wife and tell her, look, we will, work with the embassy and make sure that we can have the body taken back to Italy and things of that sort. And while we're doing this, the son is trying to make arrangements to fly over. And when he does, he's greeted by IPA members on his arrival. They give him a brief of what's happening and what happened and things of that sort. And later on, he said, he just couldn't imagine that he belonged to a family that really took care of that situation. I mean, he had no idea himself what he should be doing. He says everything was taken care of. It was like, unbelievable. It was just like a family. All the officers arranged everything. They knew what needed to be done. And it was amazing. And that's just one example of IPA membership.
But isn't that what it's supposed to be about? It is a family of people. And if we draw upon the knowledge and the abilities of our members, I think we can do a lot more of that. I'll give you an example, and as you well know, I don't know if you got the email or not, but there's a young member of IPA in France who has a 12-year-old daughter, and she is trying to find a pen pal for her daughter so they can communicate over Skype or over whatever, so that the girl in France, the 12-year-old girl in France, can learn English. So I saw that email come out, and I said, okay, I got a granddaughter that's 11 and a half, close enough. So I got her in touch with this girl in France, and now they're conversing. So it just shows you how far we can reach out. And as you know, we also have people coming from different countries. And when they come, they contact the IPA members over here, and basically they're looked after. Sometimes with accommodations, sometimes not, sometimes where to go, what to do. So it's really, really good to see things like this happening.
Exactly, Les. That's what it's all about. And you've got an example right there about your granddaughter. And these are the things that IPA offers. It's not just for an IPA member; it's his family as well. And there are activities as well for the International Youth Gathering meetings where your children or grandchildren can attend, and the themes evolve around policing, so they can understand what their parents or their grandparents were doing, and they get an idea of what police work is. And it's really exciting. If you look at the reviews that they've had after these youth have gone to these meetings, it's amazing. So those are the benefits. There are a lot of other benefits. They're like, you could get special police discounts with an IPA membership. You can travel for cheap. You can be hosted by a fellow officer in another country and who's totally a stranger. But because of the police work we do, because of being police officers, it's like,
Okay, Shep, I'm afraid we have to take a quick break again.
All
See
right.
how time flies?
Yeah.
I'll catch you on the other side.
Okay.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God, and finally, After the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest today is Shuaib Adam, a former police officer from the Kenya Police Services. He's also Secretary General of IPA Kenya until April of just past April of this year. Now, we've promoted the IPA, I think, to the benefits of it and the benefits of belonging to the family of the IPA. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. You're a former police officer in Kenya. I'm a former police officer in Toronto. What differences are there between our way of policing versus the Kenyan way of policing? Is it similar? Powers of arrest, what are they? Same as over here or different? Search, is it the same as over here or different? You're welcome to ask me any question about the way Toronto works or when I worked there. And maybe we can discuss some of the services that we belong to.
Les, I think maybe we could start with you telling us how the Toronto Police works, and then we can compare that with the Kenyan Police, how that works.
Sure, not a problem. Well, the Toronto Police Department had been in business for a long time. Our policing revolves around community. We have our powers of arrest, as I don't know if you know, but it's found committing as well as arresting on probable causes. Our investigations entail anything from investigating an accident or a fall or whatever to the fact of having, unfortunately, murders and suicides and all that stuff. The way we handle our investigations is usually a radio call is put out by our dispatcher. A police officer is sent to the scene. Depending on the seriousness of the event, either a superior officer comes out, a report is taken. If necessary, the forensic unit comes out and does their job. The initial officer secures the scene, takes the report, and basically stands guard until everything is finished. After that, his responsibility is filing the report, and it's taken over by the forensic unit or the homicide squad or the robbery unit, etc. So the initial officer is responsible for basically securing the scene and making sure everything's okay, as far as it can be okay. Then what we do is, for example, in car accidents, again, it's the police officer gets the call, goes to the scene, interviews the witnesses, makes the report out, and submits the report to the station. If charges are necessary, they're laid, and the officer gets to go to court. Now, we also have, and it's something that, so that's basically investigation. I don't want to go into little details about the forensics, etc. We also have officers that are hired out or by different organizations to direct traffic, for example, to watch equipment of real value, same as a security guard is nowadays. We have special constables now, as you know, in the Toronto Transit Commission and various other things. Their job is pretty well the same as a regular police officer. They're sworn in as peace officers. The investigations just go on and on. If we sat down on a cup of coffee, which I finished, we could discuss even more. But I think what our way of doing things is we do the investigations the best we can. We hand it over to the proper division of our police department, and they basically take over. If there's charges to be laid, everybody has to put in their reports, and it's what we call sent to the Crown Attorney's Office, and a court date is set, and you've seen from the papers over here how things transpire. Now, the only thing we have to remember is that the police department here does not take sides. We sort of make the report, submit it, and then it's up to the judge to make a decision. Sometimes you might not agree with it. Sometimes you agree with it. But all we're doing is our job, and we do it the best we can. And I'm sure it's pretty well the same in Kenya. But I'm interested in policing is the same everywhere. But what are the rights and what are the restrictions of the Kenyan Police Department? Over here, we're restricted to keeping the peace. That's our number one mandate. Our number two is to do thorough investigations and provide it to the proper departments. The court system takes over, and you're basically called as a witness to testify what you've seen, what you've done. You write everything down in your memo book, or nowadays the secretary takes the information, and a report is prepared for you. So I'm sure it's the same in Kenya?
Yes, the core functions are the same, similar. Probably the only differences I could probably talk about would be that, we have the National Police Service, which is formed of three. We have the Administration Police Service, and we have the Kenya Police Service, and we have the Director of Criminal Investigation. And because Kenya has a large area, it's a big country with different geographical profiles about it. It's, we've got rivers and mountains, plains, savannas, and lakes and desert and all. So it's a large country that needs to be policed. So we have the administration police that takes over the policing in rural areas, and the Kenya Police Service is mainly for the urban areas. So the administration police is in charge of border security as well. They also look after governmental institutions and vital installations. Wow. The Director of Criminal Investigation does exactly what it says. They do all criminal investigations, homicides and robberies and anything that is part of the normal police service, which is the Kenya Police Service. But when it's more needs specialization, that's when they step in and they deal with it, and especially undercover work and things of that sort. So I think the functions are more or less the same. The thing that I would probably note, I did visit, Chris was kind of take me to one of the stations and your SWAT teams and all that. Oh. You guys have one of the best equipment in the world. Your training is amazing. We don't have that in Kenya. Unfortunately, we're trying to get there, but we need the support from countries like Canada, the U.S., and elsewhere.
Well, I must admit, we seem to have a good budget for our police department. Should be a bit more, but we have a good budget where we have the equipment, and when it's necessary, we're able to purchase up-to-date equipment rather than 1950s guns. And I remember when I had my .38 Special, which was a revolver, and then we went to the semi-automatic handguns, Glocks and stuff, after a few trials with other guns, and we're able to purchase newer things as we go along, as you can see from the cars that we have on the road now. Now, Toronto is the Metropolitan Toronto. It used to be called the Metropolitan Toronto Police Department, and then it changed to Toronto Police Services a while back. We do have other police departments, as you know, in the area. Peel Regional Police Department, York Regional Police Department, you name it, there's one in every major center. Halton Regional, for example, major center has their police department. They're on a bit tighter budget because they don't have the tax base they can call money from. So everything is runs the same. We all have the same criminal code to look after, same traffic act, etc., except for some of the bylaws that perhaps one area has that the other area doesn't want. So the bylaw officers are the ones that are keeping track of that, as well as the police department. I think it's the same in Kenya, as you were saying. The only difference we have over here is that we have one big body, as you know, our chief and deputy chiefs and staff inspectors, etc., and they handle the deployment of the departments that they wish to attend. For example, a shooting, the SWAT team goes out when called upon by the hierarchy and gets the message to their inspector. The inspector sends the boys out to an event. Same thing, right?
Yes. Yes, it's different, but a little more or less the same, I would say. Yes.
Well, like I say, we seem to have the money, where I'm sure that Kenya is unfortunately not in the same position to buy equipment and update everybody almost weekly or monthly.
Yeah, but they're getting there.
Oh, I hope so.
Because everybody understands the importance of security, and that's been, like, the police service has been neglected for some time. I mean, you know, as you rightly know, police officers are not the best paid people in the world, and unfortunately in Kenya that had been a case for a long time. But with the new Inspector General and the new police reforms and things going on in Kenya, that's all being taken care of, and things are getting much better.
Super.
So I think we just following you guys in your steps to policing better the world and the countries we live in.
Well, it looks like we're time for another break. I'll see you on the other side. We'll do our last segment.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes. finds a locket or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Welcome back to the International Police Association radio show. Our guest today is Shuaib Adam. He's a retired police officer from Kenya. And so far, we had a great discussion. Now, if you want to look at our website and catch our interview, our website is iparadioshow.net. What we're looking for is people from all over the world to tell us about their experiences in the IPA, to tell us about their countries, to tell us about how they feel about their countries, what activities they have over there. I want to make it exciting for everybody around the world. With our 450,000 members, sure as heck we could be able to promote IPA, not only to our members, but also to prospective members. Shuaib, welcome back. That's our final segment, and I hope we can get to another 12 minutes of talking. And so far, we've had some great times, great conversation. I'm not sure what the producer thinks about it, but I think we've covered some of the basics. Now, IPA Kenya, it's been around for some time. It's growing, and you said the police departments are getting better over there, getting hopefully more money, more realization that security is necessary. Now, I know you come to this country just a short time ago, and I know that you're a security advisor. Have you found work over here in Canada yet?
Not yet, Les. Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So like we say, IPA sort of sticks together, and since you are a member, I'll put you in touch with a couple of security companies that I'm sure could probably use a man with your talents. Don't expect $1 million payout because it doesn't happen. I don't care what anybody told you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, Les. That'd be great.
Not a problem. Now, Shuaib, tell me a little bit about you said Kenya has a whole bunch of outskirts. And I take it that the communication is the same as over here over radio, cell phones, internet, et cetera, et cetera. Is that true?
Yes, we are actually quite advanced in that field. I mean, technology-wise, we have one of the best communication equipments at the moment, because especially for the nature of the country that we live in. Like I said, we got mountains, deserts, and all these areas. We have HF radios as well, and we can communicate with the remote areas in the country as well. So communication-wise, I think we're doing well and updating ourselves every time when new technology comes in. And it's important because those officers out there need to get the word back to their headquarters and inform what's happening. So communication is a vital part of policing, I would believe.
It sure is. I mean, I tell you, I remember when I joined way back, we had dispatchers that actually spoke to you and actually told you. They were so familiar with the area that they could tell you where the back alleys were. I'm talking about Toronto now. Where the back alleys were, where, let's say, a break and enter, B&E, was in progress. The dispatcher would tell the officer, one go to the front door, one go one block down, turn left, make another left-hand turn, and come down the alley there to the back of the place. I mean, unfortunately now, as you all know, the GPS systems and all the stuff that they have now are not that familiar, and they're very cold to the officers. And you know, I used to enjoy having to talk to somebody and actually ask him if he knew what the area was, et cetera, et cetera. And it was really, really much more friendlier than it is now. At least that's my opinion. Now, is there any way that I can call on you, Shab? Is that if you know any IPA members in any part of the world, perhaps where you've been or what you visited, if I could ask you to maybe give them a quick call or send them a quick email or whatever you want to communicate with, to see if they'd be interested in coming on the IPA radio show anytime in the future. I would love to hear from other countries.
Sure, Les. I have quite a few contacts all over the world. I'd certainly try and contact them and see if they would be interested. And why not? We'd all like to know about different countries and their policing policies and how the IPA works in those sections. I'd probably, I'll try and do that for sure.
Isn't that what we were just talking about? Communication. Well, what better way to get the communication going than with a radio show that hopefully will bring all these people together to a much closer relationship, rather than relying on one or two people in the region that looks after travel, for example. It'd be nice if the guys themselves, or the girls themselves, actually got in touch with each other to see what's happening. Exposure, that's what it's based on, I think.
I agree. It's a brilliant idea, Les.
So now that we're winding down to the last couple of minutes here, can you think of anything that you want to bring forward?
Well, the thing is, like this radio show, I think it's an amazing idea because you can reach out to so many people out there, and a lot of people out there don't know about IPA. So I think this is just the best way to go about it for now. And you guys are doing a great job, Les.
You know what I find difficult, though? It's difficult to get some of these police officers or ex-police officers or ex-law enforcement officers to actually come and speak. I don't know why, because I finished my coffee, so it's too bad. But it's just like talking between friends, and isn't that what we are? As
Yes.
IPA members, we're all friends. Doesn't matter if you're in this country or whatever country you're in. It's like a little miniature brotherhood.
Exactly. Yes.
And with our experienced membership, and I'm talking now the retired guys, the young guys can learn so much from them as far as maybe not. The terminology has changed, definitely in Toronto. What we used to call it one thing, and now it's called something else. It's identical. However, the young people don't realize that particular act or form has been around for 70 years, and the only thing that's changed is the title. So I want to get people together to talk about that type of stuff and enjoy their conversations and enjoy each other's company. So when and if they visit that particular country, they can have somebody to talk to rather than trying to get through the travel or local police departments to try to find an IPA member. Anyway, I think that we're getting there slowly, very slowly, but we're getting there. It's like building the IPA. It had to get started somewhere, and I'm sure it was only one or two people. So, Shab, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, Les. I'll certainly look up some contacts and see if we can convince them to come on the radio and give us their experiences. I think a lot of police officers, I can assure you, there's definitely an exciting or some kind of experience an officer has had in his lifetime as a police officer, and they're very interesting stories. So, I think it'd be a good idea to do that.
Yeah, you know what? I went to Hungary on their Friendship Week. It was last year or the year before. I forget now. We made some good contacts there. And I met some guys from England, Denmark, Russia, U.S. Anyway, there was about 60 of us there. And I tell you, I still keep in touch with some of those guys. And Malta, for one, for example. And we still keep in contact. We still talk. In fact, I'm going to go after that little devil because He speaks English, not perfect, but that's okay. It's a radio show. I don't care if you talk in your own language. Whole thing is to get the information about the IPA in your particular country and your experiences out to the membership so they can take advantage of the opportunities that's offered by not only the IPA, but by each individual member. So, how shall we wrap up, Shuaib? What do we do?
Well, I can just tell you that when you meet another police officer and you make friends, it's friendship for life. And that's amazing. That's a wonderful thing for me. The people I've met, I've been friends since then, and you'd be amazed what they can do for you and the things you can do for them. So I think it's a great way of life.
It definitely is. Just to give you an example, after I retired, I was traveling around, and I was a member of the IPA then. In fact, I'd really only heard about it by accident, same as you, but it wasn't a streetcar. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you keep in contact with people and you enjoy their company, they're great. What I find that my wife used to tell me and my kids used to tell me, why are you stopping that police officer? And I'm going, well, I said, I don't know anybody else that knows places where you can eat, enjoy entertainment, or a hotel that's reputable to stay at than a police officer. Same as when I go visit different areas of Toronto, I usually try to get into the station or talk to some of the guys on the road and ask them, how's this area? And you know yourself, between police officers, there's the bond where they'll actually tell you most of the truth about the areas and food and drinks and hotel rooms, etc. And I'm sure it's the same as in Kenya. Well, it looks like you're coming to the end, Shuaib. We did a great job. I thank you very much for being here and giving us your insight on Kenya. Remember the IPA.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.